trying to do art, be a person, exist in the world. Well, I'm currently trying to can a bunch of things because my freezer broke. We've been trying to stock up on food because things are getting more expensive out there, and with the war in Ukraine and other global conflicts and things like the pandemic affecting everything. Things are intermittently available. So you want to stock up on food. So it's good to have a freezer, but then it breaks. And so now you got to learn how to can. And so in the process of canning all the things that are in my fridge and just thinking about ever getting anywhere or doing anything, one of my biggest problems is that I make all these lists. I have an idea, I make a list. I have an idea, I make a list. And I end up with pages and pages and pages and pages and pages that I never go back to. And when I go back to it, it's full of things that, oops, missed it. Oops, missed it. And I've been listening to this. Blogger, or a couple of bloggers. I listened to quite a few bloggers about mental health because my insurance got cut off. And so after waiting months and months and months to get in line for a therapist and finally getting one, my appointment was that Monday. And on Friday, my insurance got canceled as the pandemic things ended. So that's super swell. Well. But anyway, the blogger lady, she's the crappy childhood fairy. And don't come at me about the armchair thing, especially if you have medical coverage and a therapist. Because the armchair, well, problematic, yes, is all of what some of us have. And one of the things that she was talking about was procrastination. And it being related to this belief that we don't deserve better. And I think that's rooted for a lot of folks with PTSD or challenges or crappy fairy childhoods, as the fairy says. And I do think that I'm stuck in that mode. And they say, I ran fantasy sci-fi conventions and volunteered for them for a long time. And I've run events where lots of get started on your dreams. Let's run a business. I've helped other people run businesses. I have done this a lot and a long time for a lot of people, but I can't do it for myself. And one of the things they say is just get there, sit down, and just do it. Can I help you, sir?
Hello.
Welcome in. Gonna make some food?
Yeah,
go for it. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex.
Hi.
But they say, just get in there and do it. But every time I get started, it is just a cavalcade of everything. A little bit of everything all of the time. And it is entirely, impossibly too much. So I decided to start Live and Lost. And this is going to be me just coming in for 5 minutes, for an hour, for whatever I feel like I need to blog every day. And it won't be every day because everything I plan to do every day, I don't do every day. Am I in your way?
It is in here.
Yes! It's filthy, so I washed it. Everything I say I'll do every day, I don't do every day. So maybe I'll be here once a week. Maybe I'll be here every day. But just sitting down and being accountable to the fact that I need to exist. That you just have to face it. And in theory, the whole how do you write and become a good writer, you have to write every day, is great. But especially when you have neurospiciness, it's agonizing. And I am absolutely terrified of failure, terrified of success, more so even than failure. So, hippie mace for you. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to write the new page for the title on every single failed to-do list. Every single one where every item is now completely passed and effed. Because all of those opportunities are lost because I did not do anything with them. And this makes me feel like I'm a rat in a cage and that nothing will ever change and that nothing will ever go forward. And it's as I'm sitting down and I'm finally able to run my own family the way that I want to. And I'm trying to teach them that it's not a matter of succeeding, it's a matter of getting back on the horse. But that just sounds so trite in comparison to everything, especially since like things are not built for the outliers. We have a lot of neurospiciness in this home, and all of the systems that we were taught and had normalized don't work for us at all. But trying to make what is this notification? Trying to make a system that works for you while trying to get yourself off of a system that doesn't work for you, or trying to operate your life, because you have to still operate your life from the previous system while trying to put in the extra energy to innovate a new system. And I had to constantly really be humble to my kids as I said, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to hold ourselves accountable to. And then I'd miss the mark and I'd be like, okay, they're supposed to be doing yoga in the morning and they're waiting on me to just give them the parameters. One of them knows how, the other one needs some teaching. And all I got to do is X, and then I don't do it, and I don't do it, and I don't do it. It's like we're trying to do these weekly meetings, which we most of the time do, but often don't do, where we just look at it. We just look at it in the face. We just look at it into its face and say, here it is. I'm trying not to. I have no tolerance. I have no tolerance for things that make me feel bad about myself, because I feel so bad all the time. And it just thrusts immediately into suicidal ideation or the feeling that it's all doomed immediately. And I recognize it's a cop-out, but I do not know how to get out of it. So I'm hoping that if I just come in here, like I would love very much to just, I decided a long time ago that the type of art that I have to do is very honest and off the cuff and unedited and because if I have to go through the whole production process, I won't finish it. Most of the things. But in order to do that more honest, off the cuff version, you have to be willing to let people see you imperfect, gross, full of biases, full of effed up things. You have to be willing and able to do that. And life was pretty garbage for a long time. And I think it was fair that I collapsed and needed to recover. But now's that kind of like physical therapy part of recovery, in which you have to do the things that you really can't do. And like I try to tell my youngest all the time that, because he's like, well, I can't do that. I'm ADHD. I'm like, well, you have to figure out how. The ADHD people can't keep timelines, yet things happen at times. Boy, no, I know it. Things happen at times. Did you know that? Things happen at times. So you can't, but you must. But I can't pay the rent, but you must pay the rent. But I can't pay the rent, but you must pay the rent. But I can't pay the rent, but you must pay the rent. But I can't, but you must. And how does that work? How does the dreams that we have match the world that we live in? How does it not? And how can you accept those things and be able to move forward? There are 1 billion things I want to do. And I really, 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 most really, really just want to be able to set intentions and then do them. I worked for a very long time for people who exploited my labor for way too much little money. And I was so good at making their lives and their businesses successful. And I just somehow can't force myself to activate that level of work ethic for myself. Not that I want to be breaking my back all the time like I did in the before times, but I would like to be capable of that. This is battery enough that I can walk, I think. What am I going to walk about? So a little overview of what I would like to do. Lots of things. Music, of course. I would love to make and play music, but it's not just singing. Not just sing-a-linging. I really want to cultivate a different energy with music that moves away from, let's very grainy. It's probably this laptop camera. Maybe we'll set up my HD camera for the next thing, but I don't know. Who cares? I'm just ranting at you. It's not like video quality matters here. I remember bartending at the Stone Gate Rock and Rum Bar in Tacoma, Washington. And this gent comes up to me. He's like, man, media, it really fucked over musicians. And I'm like, no, I really think social media has changed the landscape for the positive for the independent musician. He's like, no, I didn't say social media. I said media. And he was talking about essentially, and then, I learned more about that in jazz history, where it used to be that in order to have music, you had to participate. Like at the turn of the century, the 20th century, at the turn of the 20th century, most of the popular music was sheet music. And somebody around you had to play music in order for you to enjoy music. And so people participated in it as a religious thing, as a bonding thing, as, family. And then you still had quite a lot of touring bands. And then radio happened. And then the amount of people who played then went down again. And now, at about the time that radio happened, it was the same time that, music business people who realized that they could make famous people happen. And instead of there being your local awesome player that you were super into, now there was a few Gagas in the world and nothing else, effectively. And I really feel like I ran karaoke for 6 years and I sang competitively, and I've met a lot of singers. And one of the main things that people say to me before they sing karaoke is, I'm sorry. They don't feel like they have a right to make sounds, especially if those sounds aren't good sounds. And I was taught a different lesson growing up. Everybody in my family sang, and a lot of them were good at it because a lot of us sang. But being good at it wasn't the point. And the one who taught me this best was my mama. And she could sing quite ably inside of her range. But that didn't mean she'd stay in her range. If she wanted to sing a song, she was going to sing that song. And she was going to sing her heart out, even if she was off key, even if she was off beat, even if she didn't quite know the words. And that impacted me as much as my Aunt Jamie sings beautifully and would always sing harmony. And that just... And when I was young, and now I'm obsessed with harmony, and it drove my sister crazy throughout high school because she's the one I sang with the most, so I'd practice on her. And she's like, will you just sing lead with me, please? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. And it had to sound bad in order to eventually sound good. It had to. That was the only way. Some people think of failure as an unnecessary byproduct of wanting success, but I know in my head that failure is the only path to success. It's not a byproduct that happens sometimes on the way to success. It is the only way. It's the only way to do something. Like when you first start any skill, you're going to fail at it more than succeed. And until you practice it enough, that a rate of failure goes up to success. And then you think about the perception that people have of a successful singer. It's another reason why I like to record myself just bullshitting. Or like improv harmony. So when you improv harmony, you miss. Oops, I thought I was going someplace else. Like I like to sing along with songs I've never heard before. And you can kind of guess how it's going and try to spit it along, but then you miss. Eventually you miss. And also like professional baseball players. They have a success rate sometimes as 70%. I don't know the numbers, but it's batting average. It's all about averages. And their averages, if you were counting it as a grade, are often barely passing. Like nobody's 96% hit rate. That's not a thing. Maybe it is. Baseball nerds can correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. It's really great if you can more than half the time hit the ball. You're better than you do better than a coin flip. And again, this is all stuff I know, but knowing and knowing are different. Knowing in your body, it's like It's like when you have racial biases. A lot of people practice it here, but they don't practice their tired brain. They don't practice their mad brain. That it's like why somebody might call somebody by their pronouns. And like when I was working at PJ's Pub, there was this gal that came there that happened to be trans, and she could get a little bitchy and people would get mad at her. And when they were mad at her, they'd misgender her. And that tells you that you don't respect her as much as you think you do, because you need to, for all trans people, you respect that she is a cat. I was trying not to curse. I don't know why I thought that would work. Because I'm trying to do open rants, and I am a sailor, so. I rant a lot to my bestie Kylie. We both have this issue of feeling lost and trapped with so much different things make your brain have different level of brain activity. There's some people that are born as what is called highly sensitive people. I think I'm one of those people. It's just, I'm sensitive. Are you okay? Are you okay, bud?
Do you know where the broom is?
First, did I already say? This drop. Okay, didn't break anything?
No.
Okay. Room's right here, but I thought I heard something break.
It's fine. I'm just irritated because I made food for once and now I can't eat half of it.
Do you want help making more?
No.
Okay. Look at waste of tomato sauce. We'll buy you more. Look, got tomato sauce on this. Start with eating this.
I'm not eating floor pasta.
Not eat the floor pasta. I mean, start with eating the remainder pasta.
There is no remainder
No
pasta.
remainder pasta. I thought you said you wasted half of it.
I ate like half of it before. I got like halfway through and then I dumped it out.
That's sad. Well, sorry for your luck. Let me know if you need any help. What do you got? Go sweet. Yeah. It's another good example. It's trouble to make yourself eat. And then you make yourself food. And then in one moment you can slip and lose it all. And you're like, yeah. That kind of thing happened to my bestie the other day. Packed food for themselves. And then one of the cheese was moldy. And then that was all it took to unravel the day. But so ADD, more information. PTSD, hypervigilance, more information. And that I can't remember which artist said this in an interview on some TV show they were in, that you can't be mad at yourself or judge the art that you make, because really it's just, you're a container. And I don't think this is every creative, but I do think that this is a type of creative, and I think that is the kind that I am. That you're a container for all these things, and then the things percolate inside of you, and then out comes bleh. And the bleh is the art. And my art is often weird and stupid, and not everybody likes it, but sometimes it's a cat. Sometimes it's a hairball. And sometimes it's a diamond in the rough that I don't have the time or energy to polish, and so it stays rough.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh!
But all of this information coming in is a positive thing for creativity, but it also makes it really hard to prioritize. Like, I constantly find myself making new burlesque acts and never finishing any of them, or making new music, making new songs and not finishing them. It is the curse of itty-titty, but it is also very related to my fear of failure. Excuse me, I keep saying fear of failure, but I've failed a lot. My fear of success. So, I'm feeling like I may never get there. And so I'm just going to try to start. And starting for me is going to look like I might just turn it on in my live and lost, I might just turn it on and rant about something. I might just turn it on and you can watch me practice music. And this is, I mean, I don't actually expect anyone to watch these. I just more expect to have a series of recordings that are live so that I can get used to a relationship with myself live. The moment that I am in at that moment being good enough to go. It is, and the conversation I have a lot with my bestie Kylie, it's really, really agonizing and frustrating to have comparable or even better skills than a lot of people around you and watch them doing so well. And it's really hard not to be bitter, and you try to be supportive, but it just feels like there are so many things in the way of even starting for people whose brains are different. And just it's like my girlfriend came over and we had a lovely time. And we had such a lovely time that my body couldn't hold the joy. And on the second day, I completely froze up and she was super sweet. But it's like I'm having all of these reverberatory feelings from I basically am having to go through like it's like a PTSD flashback. Feels the same as that emotional fallout from having an intense PTSD flashback. Only things were really nice, and it occurs to me that I've never really been aiming at winning. I know this because my live-in partner has removed every barrier that was in my way is being obliterated one by one. And as I'm starting to realize that maybe I can actually do this, I'm finding myself procrastinating and not doing anything. And as terrified as I am, dying meaningless and not even, like, I don't need to be famous. I'd like to finish an album. I'd love to do music seminars that teach people how to just make music theirs again, run more circle songs. I want to write rounds and arrange rounds, like stupid things that get people singing again. Like rounds get a bad rap. They're seen as stupid, and all these little folk songs that we don't care about, that we're taught about, but we don't care about. They're part of us. And our history in a lot of the world, but especially in America, is not always something that we can be proud of all the time or that we are proud of. So I really want to adjust some of those things to be kind of inclusive and to not exclude what it had before, but also to include more things, to include more genders, to include for patriotism, to expand, to include the America we want to see, not the America we currently be. Because there's a lot of wonderfulness here, but there is so much pain and so many people suffering, and it's by design. I don't mean to get on my fucking punk kicky leg high horse here, but it is by design. A lot of the things that made our parents successful have been destroyed, and it is increasingly harder, like, to get anywhere. I really struggled with my ex because they did not have the pain tolerance. They wanted to change the world, but they finally looked at me after like 6 years of fighting, and we were, moving, shaking, doing stuff, and they're like, when does it end? I'm like, baby, it's not ever going to end. It doesn't stop. First of all, like, there's so much work to do, and did you think they were going to give it to you? Our education system is being destroyed. The housing market is being destroyed. It used to be free for public colleges, and then Black people were allowed to attend them, and then they destroyed the freedom of it. It's just that, you can look into the research. It's the same reason why we don't have universal health care, because then people of color would get it. a lot of these systems are built to control undesirable people. As someone who was crazy, it wasn't long ago, but I have a kid. I would have been sterilized. Like, if things were like they were not very long ago. And so many of the things are not that different. I mean, when I got committed against my will in Idaho, like, I had to get their permission to leave. And it was one of the scariest feelings of my life. Thinking that I didn't have control of my life or my destiny. What's the point? Well, one of the points is that life is kind of made to be agony. Not that it's made to be agony, but that part of what we get out of it is the agony. Like, nobody wants to read the book about the boy who stayed home. You want them to go through trials and to overcome those trials. I don't think any of us are asking for a life without trials. I guess we just want the feeling that we can get somewhere. And that we're not, despite all my rage, I am still just a rat in a cage. So, on my short-term to-do list, I want to finish up my, so yeah, maybe that's how we'll start end all of these rants, is that I readdress my short-term, medium, long-term to-do list, the lists that are still relevant, not the ones that have passed me by. And not spend all that time or rather, I guess this whole thing is spending time agonizing about. It's not that I'm not. Maybe I just need to emotionally process agonizing about the opportunities I no longer have or may never have, or the life that could have been easier, that the life that so many seem to have, that not all the ones that I think have it even have it. I'm just perceiving them as so much better off, so much more talented, and so much more able. But anyway, I need to sort. The biggest thing I need to do is sort all the material I've already made. I've made so much material, and it lives and dies in even like basic things like family photo albums. Like, I have memory issues, and so I take so many pictures and videos. And also, like, I have a spicy OnlyFans, and so I take random pictures because body of content is a big part of that. You need to have a large body of content. You need to continually. I have plenty of content for that, but I don't upload it. I don't. There's some simple burlesque acts that I can pitch that are basically finished that I need to finish and pitch. And start performing around town. I have been in the Portland, Vancouver area for nearly 2 years now because of the opportunities that exist around here, and I've used virtually none of them. I've been playing some dinner shows, mostly at one or two venues that I basically are already convenient, that I already know the people. In order to play at more venues, I need to get myself some show samples. And when I started making show samples, I essentially made a list of every type of show I'd ever want to do. And then I started making the kits for every single type of every single kind of show. Like, this is my Irish show, and this is my dinner show, and this is my jazz show, and this is my upbeat jazz show, and this is my, whoa, stop it. Literally, you could do any one of those and start working. But that's not what I do. Because I realized I don't actually want to get to the end. I just want to keep spinning my wheels. Because I was taught that dreams are a thing life taught me, not on purpose. Dreams are a nice lantern you hang in the air, and every time you feel hopeless, you turn the light on. You're like, oh, when my number comes up, I'm going to have tall buildings with my name on it. And then you go to bed by the light of that light, and in the morning the light is off and you go to work. But it's not ever a goal or a plan or a destination. And I want to do better. I want to be accountable to me. I want to at least try to win. I'll march my band down and beat my drum. And if I'm found out, your turn it back, sir. At least I didn't break it up, so guess I didn't make it. Okay, so there's that. Sort my content, which is something I need to do all the time. I make so much, it needs to be on my list, but every time I sort my content, I'm like, ew, my face. Because it's me talking, me singing, me being sexy. Aha, that's hilarious. It's hilarious. And also, quite honestly, as a dissociative person, a lot of the things that I recorded, I didn't make. And so it's facing a lot of mental health stuff and mental health. It intersects with mental health corners that I don't currently have care to handle. So I think that I need to give myself patience and time. I need to make myself face it more often and then be okay if I have to bow out. Some of the things that I record are raw and emotional and things I didn't know about me. And so anytime I go into my recordings, I'm like, this might be a stupid idea for a commercial. This might be a bad comedy song. This might be a nugget of a memory that I don't remember anymore. One moment. I don't know if they're a little too loud. I'm just going to be a little quieter. I think my keys off and they're wrapped on my dad. I should do that. Maybe I'll leave them be. Maybe I'll just talk slightly louder. And then I'll figure out by listening to the recording if that was an obstructive volume.
Because there was like a plastic kind of thing that these two were slightly stuck together.
Yeah, little moments like that where I'm at agony. Should I ask them to be quieter? Should I leave it? And then I just sit there and I'm like, oh, especially if it's not an emergency decision. But also my ADD will be sitting here listening and then I can't think about what I'm saying because I can only think about what they're saying. And it makes me crazy. But apparently a lot of things do. So I can't avoid all the things that make me crazy or I will be avoiding my entire life. Ah! So. Task takeaways.
It's mostly
Sorting.
just because I want the journey to die.
Slightly quieter, please. Slightly quieter.
It'll be cold by the time I actually want to sleep. Okay.
I can't hear me.
I'm going to trade you this t-shirt so we can match. Can you guys be a tiny bit less yelly? Oh, I'm so sorry.
No worries. We're being candid, so it's not a big deal. I just want to be able to hear myself at all.
We're doing my outside time. Love you.
Have fun. I love you too. I don't want to curb exuberance, so I try not to comment when people are being verbose. Then I also try to have needs and advocate for them. The intersections of these are difficult. I feel like there's more, but I don't remember what else I wanted to include. Although this is already rather long. But then again, these are for me. I don't expect anyone to listen to them. Yeah. Task takeaways. Try to make myself do things, and that's kind of the premise of this Live and Lost is not expect myself to have it figured out, to just go, to try to follow my intentions, and that hopefully I'll get better at that every day. So again, sometimes I will just rant at y'all. At me. Y'all being me. I'm going to talk as if there are people here because it makes me feel less like an idiot. And sometimes I'll just put it up to make myself accountable for practice. Or if I have a direct task thing, I can tell myself, what is the task I'm supposed to be working on? Like right now, I am say I want to finish, because I have an example set that is live streamed from Salvador Mali's Facebook page, but I haven't gone and gleaned it as in capture, download, put it on my YouTube, take the content and put it into place for the people to see, so I can have a link and send people there and be like, look, I did the thing. So sometimes my task will be sitting down to sort my shit. And I will just start the video and just sit there and type and hate myself and be like, doing tasks with friends, sort of. Which, speaking of, I also want to, this is my other one of my short-term goals. I want to make I think I've been leaning whether it's going to be for-profit or non-profit. And I think that based on what the community really needs, I want to make it non-profit. Well, there's two different ones. One is a bigger one that I don't want to do yet, but I want to start with this smaller one, which I want to call the Backstage Babes. And essentially the point is sort of like a journalistic, but kind of Girls Gone Wild, but babes as in non-gendered. So it's kind of fun, upbeat people who are covering music and art scene, but also kind of from an education angle. Like, for example, a lot of the burlesque scene, they put a lot of time and energy into costumes, and some of them are really good at doing repeatables and understanding business-wise that they need to have those repeatable. But even repeatables, they have a certain shelf life. So depending on how much that act cost, it's really hard. Even a lot of the people don't even get their money back at Sinferno in Portland, and that's a great venue full of really pro performers. And still, a lot of them are breaking even. So there's a venue in Spokane that I really want to help support and start pitching them in between acts, essentially. So we got a Patreon, and the Patreon gives you access to a Discord chat. And in the Discord chat is a variety of performing people who you get access to chat with, but also it gives you access to certain events will just be included with the Patreon, and then other events will be premium events where, just chatting with I can get what's her stage name? I almost called her by her real name. Blood Countess. Is that her real? She might have changed her stage name. I think it's Blood Countess. But anyway, getting her to, when she's doing her pole classes, to kind of have a live stream thing going on. And those can be those are really exciting. The behind the scenes things, I think those are kind of premium events, but maybe for other types of events, doing just kind of included in the Patreon. So those are types of things that again, business mind wise, I know what I need to do. But sitting down and organizing my brain and being first, then is agonizing. So we're going to try this. We're lost. We're live and we're lost. Letters to y'all, live and lost.
You guys have done. It's very important.
Good day. Till tomorrow.